city's historic districts and through the promotion and enhancement of the city's historic and aesthetic attraction to tourists and visitors. I'd like to take this opportunity to ask the other commissioners to introduce themselves, and tonight we'll start from my left and the audience right.
Keelan Adams.
Carol King.
James Long.
Kamala DeBartoleben.
Thank you so much, and I'm hoping that everyone has had a bountiful Christmas and New Year's observation. As we look at our agenda for this afternoon, the first order of business is the approval of minutes of the December 12, 2023 meeting. To our other commissioners, you have received a copy of those minutes in your package, and the chair will now entertain a motion for the adoption of those minutes.
I move we adopt the minutes as mailed to us.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any unreadiness? All those in favor, let it be known by a show of hands. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Ingram carried unanimously. All right. Moving right along, our annual meeting election of officers. And we have two officers who are up for election, or two positions that are open for the election this afternoon, our vice chairman and our chairman. And we'll start with our vice chair. Is there any nomination or nominations for our vice chair?
Carol King.
Carol King has been nominated. Any other nomination? Once, twice, 3 times? Since she's the only nominee, Ms. King, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we just go do it anyway. All those in favor of Ms. King, just let it be known by a show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you very much. And now for our chair, are there any nominations for our chair?
Richard Bailey.
All right, any other nomination? Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by a show of hands. Excuse me, unanimous. Thank you very much. Ms. King, would you like to say anything?
Well, I do appreciate the vote of support. This will probably be about my 6th year, I believe, on the commission. I am Mr. Grimes, District 1, and I do appreciate his appointment and support on that. It's not a district that contains historic properties now, but he, does show an awful lot of interest and support. And so we do appreciate that.
Thank you. And to our other commissioners, let us look forward to a very wonderful year. And we'll do as much as we can to ensure that people know there is a Historic Preservation Commission in the city of Montgomery. Discuss an overarching plan for the year. Let's look at our staff and see if you have anything in the back of your mind that we need to hear about. Mr. Adams, Mr. Rowe.
Well, one significant thing coming up is we have started work on the research for the potential South Hull Historic District. So that will be our first historic district in quite a few years if it meets the criteria and if the Commission recommend approval. I've also completed the designation report for the service station on Mobile Street. We have a number of plans for that area. We haven't brought it to you yet because we've got a number of things we want to stack up. So there's certainly 2 things that will be going on this year.
Excuse me, Mr. Mark, can I just ask on number 1 on South Hull, what are y'all looking at boundary-wise?
Sean, do you have the actual boundaries?
Preliminary.
Yeah, so it's Fairview Avenue on the north,
Right.
South Court on the west, Edgemont to the south, and then Norman Bridge Road on the east.
And just to clarify, this district was, work had started in this district prior to COVID. So a lot of the survey work has already been done, and I believe these were the boundaries that were looked at then. Now, just because these are the boundaries that we're looking at the moment doesn't mean to say that's what the final boundaries are going to be. Obviously, the research and the survey work will determine the final boundaries, but that's the sort of general area that we're looking at the moment.
So Garden District doesn't cover the south end of Fairview, right? That would be included in South Hull then?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then go to the back property line, okay.
Yeah, so we've literally just started the work. We will obviously keep you updated with where we are and our progress, and we've agreed to work with the residents as well, have as many meetings as they want. We've offered them the opportunity to come out and do survey work with us. If anyone up on the board wishes to come out and do survey work with us, they are welcome to. So they're two of the things that we will be working on. I believe there's also we're going to start presenting the amended Historic District Design Guidelines. We'll bring them to you one chapter at a time so you're not overloaded. There may also be some changes to the rules of procedure, and we're also looking at potential ways to strengthen our historic preservation ordinance as well. So, a number of fairly major things potentially coming up this year.
Okay.
Sean?
Question? Yes, go right ahead.
Just wanted to add that there is a webinar coming up on Thursday of this week. I've emailed you all the details, and you do have a code that you can put in to receive free attendance to the webinar. So this is on local historic designation. It'll be conducted by the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions. So I highly recommend that you all attend. If you're not available at the time of the webinar, it will be recorded and you can view it at a later time as well once you register. So just recommend that you all attend that, and then let me know so I can track that for our recording purposes.
Okay, good, excellent.
And just
Anything?
a couple of other things. We do intend applying for more grants this year, various levels of grants for various projects. And we did receive 3 proposals for the grant-funded oral history project for the Peacock Tract. We will be reviewing them this week, and we should be moving ahead with that soon as well. So it's looking like it's going to be a very, very busy year coming up, but all good work.
Excellent. In fact, that's what we want. We want to stay as busy as possible. That's the name of the game. Do y'all have anything else before I go to our other commissioners to see what's on their minds?
I don't. Sean?
Let me just say, a couple of years ago, I don't know, I remember exactly how many, I received a telephone call. There was a group in that Hull Street district about to have a program a couple of days after the phone call, and the person who called me was interested in someone coming and giving a talk on the history of that area. So based on what you're saying here this afternoon, I think it's very good that we're giving some attention to that district, that area, because if you move around Montgomery, certain areas are always talked about, but I don't hear too many people talking about that particular district. And I just want to let you know I really appreciate that. And one of the things I would hope that we would focus on are street names. Some of the names for whom the streets in that area, those are historic pioneer families. And if we can include that in whatever it is that we do regarding that area, I think we will find ourselves serving the mission very well, just to let people know who some of those streets are named for in that area. And you can start with the War of 1812 naval heroes such as Hull, if you will, and just go beyond that. But I think just to focus on that district is something that should get kudos for everybody for making that kind of decision. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see the designation report will be substantial. One of the things that we've noticed from some of the older reports is some of them don't exist and some of them are only a few pages long. So I mean, for the service station on Mobile Street, I mean, I believe that report runs to, it's about 35 pages, and that's just for one property. So the plan is to start making sure that our designation reports are robust and defensible and contain all the information. So certainly the street names would be certainly a valuable addition to that report.
Okay. Are there any questions from our other commissioners to Mr. Adams or Mr. Rose? Any questions that you might have for them?
No, I just think that's, like you said, it's a long time coming on that particular. You don't think too much about it as a post-war, mainly post-war neighborhood, but it was definitely a transition point for, as Montgomery grew south of Fairview Avenue on out to the Normandale area, and also it was one of the areas that was sort of a flipped back and forth during the federal desegregation laws of 1970 as well. The several laws that they flipped it back, that was one that sat right in the heart of a lot of the line drawing.
And we would say that if anyone on the commission has information on the neighbourhood, then please feel free to submit it to us. So, you know, if you know the story behind any of the street names, or you do know some of the history of the neighbourhood, then please do forward it to us, and we will make sure that's included in the report.
And that is, you know, and a negative part of it is you did lose the post-war Bellingrath, which was an equalization school
Right.
to the other side. And then there's still that one church left on the west side, Memorial Presbyterian, which is we've done a lot of research into it because of the windows that we have at this point are available.
Let me just make this observation. There is a map at 25 Adams Avenue regarding the development of all of the neighborhoods in Montgomery. It's a big, almost wall-sized map. Is there any way?
Yeah, actually, that's a landmarks map.
Is it really?
Yeah, that we used to bring here.
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's available through one of the city departments, but it's a big 6x7, that kind of thing. We put it down here on the thing. It's annexation by year, so you can see color-wise. I'll try to remember to bring it.
Sure.
Too, because it's
And
really an interesting map.
I would love for the other commissioners, if you have an interest
It belongs
in this map, getting a copy, because it shows when each neighborhood in Montgomery was developed. And I think it's just a good reference point to have that in your office or wherever. You can just look at it at your own caprice to know
very
when,
interesting.
yes, when certain neighborhoods in Montgomery develop. And one of the things that goes with what we're talking about right now, I don't know how many people realize how the city did develop. At one time, let's just say 1900, if you were at Court Square and going to Cloverdale, you just got your picnic basket ready for an all-day trip, just about. And it's hard to believe that it would have taken that long to go from Court Square to what we today call Cloverdale at one point in our city's history. And I don't know how many people even realize that at one time people actually lived on Dexter Avenue, people actually lived on Monroe Street in the downtown areas. But if we could get a copy of that map for our other commissioners, I really would appreciate it. Any comments from the other commissioners? Okay, you about to say something?
Oh, I was thinking about, I would love to have one of those.
It's
definitely.
really fascinating.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
is.
I've never seen, I haven't seen
We'll show
that
it to you
before.
Thursday.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Thursday?
show it
Okay,
to you
okay.
Thursday, too.
All right. Yeah, I would love to see it and have a copy of it.
Sure, okay,
Yes.
thank you so much. Now, regarding our overarching plans for 2024, let's have an opportunity for our fellow commissioners to say what's on your mind regarding some of the things that we should do in 2024.
Well, I've given a little thought to how we could be a little bit more visible, as we have talked about before, to general people. And what has occurred to me is maybe we could have devoted website or on the website for the commission, and we would have something like a featured historical building on there. In other words, it would be simple to do. We already have just given signs. You could actually feature a home, some of the home, the picture that we've used, the little description of the house that goes in history, and feature that on a website for a little while, and then go to another home or another site or a street or a neighborhood or a district, and that would give us a little bit more visibility without any major, if we could get access to a website, any major effort.
Are you suggesting that we do that each month, have a different one each month?
You could do it in month, quarter, however we do it,
Sure.
but I think we got enough to do it every month.
Okay.
And it would, just by using the ones we've already approved,
Surely.
to feature them out there, and because there's some good history with those, even just the homes that we've talked about lately.
Surely. And if you remember from our December meeting, the historical lesson we received regarding the home at Highland Court.
Yeah.
Those people have those deeds going back to 1859. And we just want to piggyback and illuminate those kind of points.
Right.
But let me ask you, our staff people, this. Can you all comment on what he just suggested? Is that workable?
One of the things, again, that we just discussed, I think, last week was making the website pages more user-friendly and providing more information. And one of the things we had discussed, and then it's happened in other cities I've worked in, and that is you do exactly that. You feature a specific historic site once a month or however often with a bit of information, because one, it draws attention to obviously the work that you do, but just as importantly, it lets people from beyond the city see exactly what there is here in the city to come and see. And so running a regular feature on another historic site in the city is incredibly valuable to draw people to the city and let people know what is here. So yes, that's something that we can do, and it's something that we actually just discussed last week. We're just trying at the moment to find out the best way to do it, and we just need to speak to a couple of people to see exactly what permissions we have, how often we can change it, and just make the whole website a bit more user-friendly for historic preservation.
Or I think even, of course, that's a point of reference to research back to the thing, but I know we do Mid-Mod Monday. Oh, this is Facebook and Instagram. We do social media. We do Mid-Mod Monday, where we feature, images and history of obviously mid-century modern Montgomery, just to sort of start creating that interest in that particular time period, because we do still have a fair amount of rich architectural heritage. With that, sort of shifting it toward designation for protection, and then we have Throwback Thursdays, which it's not very original, but they're extremely successful because they create a lot of discussion among the public, if nothing but reminiscing. This last Thursdays was the school that stood where the main library is downtown. There was a school there, and then juxtapositioned up against it is the construction of the library and museum in 1959, 1960, and we had 18,000 engagements on it. So I mean, it was seriously popular. But it also gets people talking, but it also gets them exposed to appreciation for older buildings as well as newer things that they don't think of as being historic, but yet they are, especially design-wise. So even if it were something that we could work with Griffin on Facebook, we could feed it to him. post.
And that's exactly the sort of things we have to discuss, because we need to find out what the city's, excuse me, policy is
Right.
on individual departments having a Facebook page, if it all has to go through one person, you know, the same with LinkedIn and other things as well, and that's what we were discussing about. We need to find out what the policy is, because some cities don't like departments running free and all
Right.
uploading stuff to the to social media, so we just need to find out the policy.
That's
But
true.
yes, we had discussed that.
We're very careful to either use public domain images or images that Landmarks owns and,
Right.
you know, agreed to the publication of. So there's a lot of strings attached.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, one thing that really caught my eye, just probably like an hour ago, is that the City of Montgomery, I don't know who's responsible for posting on the City of Montgomery Facebook page, but there's some very interesting news. It says that exciting news, we have been named one of the world's top 52 places to visit by the New York Times.
Really?
So, like, this is new. This is like within an hour new. So now I know it's been a lot of buzz that's been going on around some of the stuff that's coming about in Montgomery. But at the same time, what I've been noticing is that when people come here, one of the first things that they start asking about it, okay, show me the historic sites. Show me the historic sites. So kind of making reference to what he was suggesting about website and different things that can be done, even like a blog spot and with contributors to it. Because I mean, I've I was reading some books. I was doing some research earlier this week, and we have some pretty heavy hitters sitting on this panel right now. I'm not gonna say any names, but heavy hitting researchers. So what I'm also saying is that I think that that'll be a good way to highlight different things and then make it a little more accessible, easily accessible for the public, and then especially those who are just coming to and fro, from literally all over the face of the globe at this point. So.
And one of the big things that we want to do is, rather than people coming here for a day and then leaving, what we want to do is encourage people to come for 2 and 3 days. Because when people come for 2 and 3 days, that benefits local businesses, it benefits local hotels, it benefits the individual sites.
That's right.
And I think that's what you're starting to see now. There are several new hotels being built in the city. The city's getting the recognition as being a fantastic place to visit because of the history, because of the climate. And it's all about building, more downtown businesses, longer stays at the weekend, more hotels, and using our historic resources as part of that economic driver to bring people here, which is why it's so important to let people further afield see exactly what we have here and why it is a great place, not just to stop off at, but to come and spend 2 or 3 days or 4 days or a week and base themselves here.
Right.
And that's really what we would like to see starting to happen.
Right.
Let me just throw this out, since we are on this pitch. Is it possible that at our historic preservation meetings, that we could just pick a neighborhood and spotlight that neighborhood during that meeting with a couple of photographs and a little history of that particular neighborhood? Can we do something like that the remainder of the year? For example, this is our January meeting. Can we say in February we will come and talk about a given neighborhood? It doesn't have to be anything in depth, but just to spotlight a neighborhood. Say something about the history of the neighborhood, who some of the prominent residents may have been at one time, anything of that nature. Is that possible? Is that workable?
We have stuff we can feed you, Sean. I mean, we have some prepared presentations.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can do it. That's, what I was going to say is, like, if you have ideas about what you may want to feature, if you just let me know about it, an email something like that, then yeah, that way I can add it to the agenda.
Yeah, in other words, something maybe 5 minutes, no more than 6 or 7 minutes, just to say that for the person who watching us on television, they can get a feel for this particular neighborhood, the boundaries, the streets in that neighborhood, the history of it, when was it developed, et cetera, et cetera. You know, just
Right.
something to let people know we have a bunch of neighborhoods in our city that are truly rich in history. That's our objective. I'm wondering just what we can do with that.
All right. Yeah, I'll take a note for that for each month, and yeah, we can work on that. And I'll try to come up with ideas too. But
Sure.
if I need help with it, then I can reach out to y'all and ask for more information.
Right, right. And at the same time, we don't want to seem selfish, but if someone in one of our commissioners lives in a neighborhood and you want to come and talk about your neighborhood, we want to invite you to do that. As I said, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes, it can be 3 minutes just to say this is where, or this is a neighborhood in Montgomery I love, or I'm interested in, and I just want to say 1 or 2 words about this neighborhood or that neighborhood or whatever the case might be. I think that would be interesting also. So it doesn't have to be a neighborhood in which you live, but it can just be a neighborhood in which you might have an interest, if you know what I'm saying, for the benefit of the
We can do
owner.
historic, and then we can look at, should be historic.
Surely. Hmm. Does that sound something that might be workable, doable?
It's doable.
Okay, all right. But we have a ton of neighborhoods in Montgomery that are really fascinating, have fascinating histories. And we just want to let people know that we care about each and every neighborhood in our city. We love them, in fact. And we want the people who live in those neighborhoods to know just how rich the history of that particular neighborhood is. Okay? So, anything else from our other commissioners? Anybody? Okay. From our state, you about to say something, Mr. Adams? Oh, okay. All right. Anything else from anybody? Anybody has anything coming up you want to bring to our attention? Any event coming up anything happening in Landmark, Carol?
We do have a renovators open house, which we're scheduling for one of the last Thursdays in February. It's actually a restored property that's going to be opening soon called Jerry's. It's on Bibbs Street, right behind the Hampton. It's that small 2-story brick building that he's finishing up. And that will be a Thursday evening. We'll send everybody a blast. And it's 5:30 to 7, and it's just open for you to walk around. He's finished the restoration on the exterior and the interior, and he's up to the point of putting, installing the fixtures and things in it. So it'll be a really interesting, fun thing to do to start the year off.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, Ms. Tanya Ingram, Warren Adams, Sean Rose, and our other commissioners, appreciate your coming out tonight. There'll be no further business. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you for coming.